Hey guys, welcome Musky Road Rules podcast and Patreon. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for becoming a member. Guys, I really appreciate everybody becoming a member of this. Just go to patreon.com, search Musky, and I'm the only one that pops up. So it's a beautiful morning here, guys, up the northwest angle, starting to cool down. We have a little bit of nip in the air, which I like. It's getting to the end of August versus September, so September's got to be one of my favorite months for musky fishing. It just seems like everywhere you're at, September usually means the fishing is going to get pretty good. I know you hear in the background, that's my guest back there doing stuff. I don't know what he's doing back there.
Can you hear the jingles?
I hear the jingles. I hear everything. And guys, if you don't know who my guest is, by that lovely velvety voice, it is Gus Mantey from up in Eagle River, Wisconsin. Gus,
Greg,
how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's morning. I've got up. I'm having my coffee. It's early for my coffee, so if I have to take off, you might have to host for a little bit. If the coffee does its job.
Oh boy.
Because that, is something I could. They never put that on coffee commercials. They never put anybody just shitting their pants in a coffee commercial. It's not just like people drinking. It's always people drinking Folgers while skiing or while watching a wonderful, or while hiking. It's never someone that just drinks a pot and is just running as fast as they can to the bathroom and just screaming in pain.
Oh boy. Greg, how many Lake of the Woods islands have you dropped a deuce on?
Oh, it's in the double digits. That's how I mark it. That used to
mark your territory.
That used to be considered. That was my GPS.
Oh,
that's how I was. That's how I got to name islands. That's actually how I took my lower unit out 2 weeks ago.
You had to take a shit?
Yes. And I was backing up and hit a rock. So yeah. And then, last week, while driving down the lake, my tiller arm broke off, which I'm really glad that didn't happen at Cass Lake. Because that would have the wind, it was a bit breezy out there the last day, and I could totally see, I could just me and Rick just sitting there, just eating waves, and just be like, well, yep, this is happening. But Gus, what's going on up there in Vilas County? Are you catching anything? Is anything good? You told me over at Cass that things had been really, really good. You had a good summer.
Yeah, summer's been fantastic. And, as some people saw, my brother and I struggled quite a bit at Cass. It was a little bit tough needing to leave a very good bite in the Northwoods.
But let's come back here real quick.
Yeah.
You guys struggled at Cass.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. For the people listening, both of you, the thing that you have to realize, was that the first tournament you guys haven't caught a fish in?
Well, technically Madison last year was technically the first, but we hooked 2 at least. And that was the net dump. On that big one. So, but this was the first one we never got a bite.
Yeah. And you've been fishing it 3 years, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So 3 years, and so let me do the math here. Let me get on my calculator. It's carry the 2 minus 7, and there's a 3. There's a 3 in there. And there,
I think we've done 11 events.
11 events. Exactly. That's exactly what I come up with.
Something like that. Yeah.
So that's the exact number that I had. I was getting ready to say that, but you jumped in. I was doing the long division, and I had a cosine in there.
Yeah, I saw you holding up your fingers, counting with your hands again, Greg.
Yep. I always add pi. So I was thinking that. So 11 events, and you guys have only not caught fish and not been in the. How many top 10s?
I think it's let's see, are they? I think 6 top 10s
So 6 top 10.
or
So over
7.
50. I think
Yeah,
I think it's 7.
yeah,
So you guys have had one of the more impressive runs. I mean, it's been I mean, you guys have been kicking ass, and so for you guys to have a bad tournament, that was inevitable, right? You knew that was
yeah. We
probably
knew
going to
it too. Honestly, it was kind of scary, like how how long it kept going for us, and we're like,
happen.
it's got to hit hard somewhere. It's got to hit hard somewhere, and of course, lo and behold, good old on the moon type of a lake, Cass kicked their ass. So
Yeah, well, let me tell you what, old Cass has kicked a lot of people's ass in the past. I mean, that's
we're rhyming this morning.
yeah, it is. I'm really good at it. I just listened to some early 90s rap, and that's how I usually wake up in the morning. I usually wake up to Push by Salt and Peppa, and it's really a good way to wake up.
I could see that being your alarm. Yep.
Exactly. I mean, look at me. That's what most Katie Lang impersonators wake up to. No, I was, you guys, Cass Lake is a very hard lake. I know some guys are probably saying, "Oh, it's not that hard." Well, yes, it is. That lake has a ton of different features to it. The fish did seem to be, I don't know, for us, and trust me, I've been in your situation where whatever you do, nothing is right.
Yep.
And I've seen it on, it was funny, man. It was Madison years ago, and me and Jason Summers it was the end of the first day, and we're sitting there and we're talking in the boat ramp, and we didn't see a fish. I mean, it was like terrible for us. Did not see a fish. And I talked to Jason and I go, so how'd you guys do? And he goes, it was a little tough for us. And because nobody's wanting to say and I go, well, we didn't see a fish. He goes, thank God we didn't either. And I'm like, what do you think was caught? He goes, I don't know, 20 or so probably. Because it was a bunch of boats were in it. We get there, it was a record caught.
Record?
Yeah, there were 70 caught. Absolutely just killed it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it was really the first experience I'd had. So, I mean, we're talking, man, that might have been 20 years ago, of the fish making that big shallow push in September in the cold water, and that first big cool down. And that was when I just, it was, as you're learning in the progress of your fishing career and stuff, you're going to learn stuff as you go along. And, that was what really taught me, like, all right, get your ass up there when it gets cold. And, it was it was a big thing. And all those fish were caught on inside weed lines up super, super shallow. And here, me and Groucho, back when Groucho was alive, we're fishing, outside weed edges like we had always been doing. And that was not the thing to do. So
yep, we have figured that out, whether it's just myself guiding or fun fishing up here, and then of course going to Cass and learning about the behaviors of those Minnesota leechers. It seems like sand is way more their friend there than here. I mean, well, sand is good here, like inside weed edges, don't get me wrong, but I mean, we don't have lake size sand shelves up here. Completely different on Cass.
Yeah, and fishing Cass reminded me so much of, it kind of took me back to some of the Mille Lacs stuff back in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, and fishing that shallow sand, and it just reminded me of what we used to do years and years ago, especially on especially on Saturday in the wind. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this game. And it was just one of those deals. And yeah, it is what it is. But let's talk about what's happening up there in Vilas right now. How's the fishing? How are you getting fish, or what are some things that you're doing that might help somebody out that's coming up to do some fishing?
Yeah, so our water temps dropped pretty rapidly. I think that's kind of when that bite really, really kicked off, which was pretty much while we were at Cass. I think that all happened because I left the Northwoods at like 73 to 75 degree water temps ish ballpark, and then came back to, going out guiding that next Monday morning at 6, 7 a.m. and it was, I don't know, low to mid 40s outside, and the water temperature's already shot down to like 65. So some of our bigger lakes are holding warmer temps than that, and the warm lakes with the sun the other day, they heat right back up kind of, but we're sitting in at like 65 to 70. We can ballpark on that. And the fish have been just chowing blades. I started to slow down on like a good rubber bite, that typical midsummer rubber bite where you're pretty much just ripping dogs and deuces. Like that's the program. And I don't know if they're wanting that little extra hang, why they're eating a tube a lot more when ripping baits, but that's a pattern as well. We're pitching around usually a Red October Ninja size. It's much easier to get through the weeds and ripping that around, but it's also the time of year where you see a lot of perch make that shallow movement, and I think that's why a lot of muskies are in. So you don't want to have some giant mega bait, but plus you don't want to wrench your back out, because when fishing super shallow water and you pair that up with ripping a tube with the blade off the back of it, your shoulders and back are going to absolutely hate you, but you're going to get some great possible splashdown eats, and just like the rod stopping dead when they eat in that shallow water. So that's been one pattern. And then otherwise it's been just truly blades, but it hasn't been cold for long, these temps, but I know for a fact that the jerk baits will start to get much better the colder the temps get.
Yeah, we dropped here too, up in the angle. We dropped we were pretty much 72, 73, and when I got back there was some 68s. And I love that. I think that's great temps. I think that's like prime. Problem we're having those, we're heating back up, and I hate the heat back up. I
see that.
It seems to really kind of destroy or slow down and make it super windowy, the bites that we get in the once it starts heating back up in the sun and all that. But it looks like we've got some rain and some cooler temps coming next week, and I think that'll really help for us. Right. But show some of the tube stuff there. I think that's pretty interesting.
So I got so what I'm actually going to do is just build one right away. So at the start for a Ninja tube, I grabbed a 4/0 BKK hook.
Okay. Do you like those? I like those.
I like them a lot. I think they're really solid. It's been tournament tested, guide tested. It's a great hook. I think they hold nice. They have a nice round bend, wide gap. A 4/0 BKK is like most regular 6/0 hooks or so. I want to say, and a 5/0 BKK is kind of comparable to like a 7/0, Mustad or VMC.
Yeah.
So pretty much off the back of the tube, I'm going to grab. So I've actually done a lot of rendition or iterations of this, and I've broken a lot of blades off the back. And I used to use AFW wire, and then I kept upping the pound, and the blades in the back just spin so fast and harshly that they just break and break and break. So finally I was like, all right, well, I just got to start using true wire. So I grabbed bucktail wire 051,
Yeah.
And then a trick I do, rather than spending a lot of money on ball bearing swivels, is actually I build most of my own leaders, and after a year of use, or not a year, but just a use of a leader, and I gotta, not use it anymore, and I probably don't trust that ball bearing for maybe a fish. I just toss them quick in a bin of kind of just like the used swivels, and that's what I use for the back of tubes. And I just grabbed a blade quick to put on the back, and I usually am fishing a lot of dirty water, whether it's like kind of like green bloomed or the dark tannic or kind of like the brown muddy water, one of those, and some kind of chartreuse or fluorescent orange is pretty much my only go-tos. And then you need a little bit of shrink tubing, and you'll need a round nose pliers, vice grips, and also a Nipex. So,
oh my God, it's like we're changing the transmission in a car. I love that.
yeah,
it's exactly what I use to do my toenails.
The vice grips.
Yes.
I don't want to see those ever.
Yes, it's. I also use those for Brazilians.
Gotta love that. All right. Well, first I'm gonna start with the 051 wire and the round nose, and I'm gonna bend it like you're kind of bending a bucktail wire first at the 45-degree angle like that, and then bending it all the way around. I like to do it with my hands, so I just have even more worn out and terrible hands, ready to go for the fishing day. But just kind of roughly get it in that shape. And vice grips onto it. We're not building like a bucktail, so you don't hopefully hold on to a fish. So this does not have to be anything crazy. And first, make sure your vice grips clamp down enough. I did not.
Well, they also work good for steering your boat when your tiller arm falls off.
Well, that is kind of nice. That's a good tip. That might be better than this bladed tube one, but
so you're okay. So you're
quick
just
twist.
doing quick twist, nothing fancy, just boom, boom,
boom, boom. So I can kind of, get these made quick, because I usually like to make them in kind of bulk. So there you got it there. Nipex the excess first right away.
Yeah. I like to do that on carpeted floors, so I step on it when I don't see it.
Just have these little
Yep, in the floor. Yeah. Yep, I like to do that because that just really keeps me on my toes at night.
Do you have shag carpet, Greg? You seem like a shag carpet type of guy.
No, I used to. The best story about shag carpet I have is up at Lake Vermilion. The lady that used to own, she was a very sweet older lady. When I say older, we're talking like early 90s. Used to own the Marjo Motel. And for guys listening, I know some of you out there have stayed at the Marjo. I mean, I listened to two bikers have sex in the room beside me, which was very exciting one night.
Oof.
And you go in, and if anyone has ever been there, you have to go in her house to check in, and she had neon green shag carpet, and she would always make you sit down and talk to her. And I just remember that shag carpet, and she would always forget that you checked in, because twice I'd go there and I'd go to my room and there was no towels or something like that. So I'd just walk up there and go, hey, do you got any, ask her if she had any towels. And every time I'd go to ask for towels, she was like, oh, do you need a room? I'm like, well, I literally just checked in 20 minutes ago. And she was always like, honey, I can't remember shit. And,
oh boy.
And she was so great. I know she's passed away, but she had green shag carpet, and that was always my best. It's just every time somebody says shag carpet, I think of that older lady up at Lake Vermilion.
Well, there you go. All right. So let's go back to the hooks. Of course, knowing you, Greg, I could say anything and you probably got a story for it.
I've lived.
Yeah. So I'm taking the hook and I'm pretty much measuring out. So you pretty much inline the loop of the hook and also the loop that we just made.
Okay.
And, if you line that up, this is what's ultimately going to be split ring to the back of the tube. So you want them.
So you're okay. Okay. So I'm going to interrupt you here because I'm good at it. So you're actually hooking that wire to the same split ring that the hook's going on.
Correct. And another reason why I end up doing this is that I used to wrap the hook.
Yeah.
You catch a fish, it's hooked in a tough spot. You got to Nipex the hook. The hook's toast. Your bladed tube, your blade off the back of that hook is toast. You got to rebuild a new one. If you do this and you clip the hook, all you have to do is cut the shrink tubing off, and then you're left with, your cut hook. Throw it away, and then you're left with the wire and the blade, and you just put it on a different hook and shrink tube it there.
God damn it! I knew you were. Look at that. You've got 2 eyes, some teeth. You're smart. You are smart. I'm stealing that one.
There you go.
I like that. I do the wrap the hook and I stick my fingers. It's kind of like I'm testing for my diabetes and
poking yourself every time.
Getting finger pricks, and I'm on one of those commercials with Band-Aids. And I like this. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
So I lined it up. I already kind of pre-bent it just at the back of the hook, just so this is where ultimately the swivel is going to be.
Yep.
So I bent it just out the back. So I got it sized, and I'm just going to make another loop exactly like what we just did to start. And I gave myself a little bit more wire this time, so it's a little bit easier. So,
yep.
Fancy, super fancy.
I like a great that.
Loop.
Now, okay, so let me ask you this. So are you going to put the swivel on there, or just swivel, split ring, swivel?
I knew it was morning for sure. I almost lost a step.
Huh. There we go. I'm here.
That's why you're here. I would have made the loop and I've been like, huh. So the swivel is now on the end of this one.
All right. Yeah. So. Yeah. And now the other thing I want to, this is just something, and maybe the swivel, remember what, not you, I'm sure but I have to remind myself is that one side of the swivel swivels, the other side is solid.
You do have to pay attention to that. I fortunately have a double-sided swivel.
Okay.
It spins at the top and bottom of it, but that is a good point. If you have I think a big crane swivel would work too. This is just a ball bearing swivel from like the AFW brand or something like that. So I'll enclose the loop with the swivel now. And like I said, it doesn't have to be too fancy. Honestly, the less bulky it is, probably the better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Nipex it.
So how many extensions can you make from one piece of wire? Can you get 2?
Oh, absolutely. This was actually like an old cut up wire, and I just got done making, and this is how much I have left. I could make another. I could probably make 3 almost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So just actually curious. What I do is when I build or rebuild my own bucktails with 051 wire, I mean, I don't know. I think the reason I have a ton of excess is I used to have a huge bundle of the 18-inch wire rather than the 12. So every time I built a blade, I had a ton of excess. I saved every excess, so I just have a shit ton of miscellaneous 051.
I do the same. I've got a lot of those just random size pieces of wire, and I just go through there and see which one I need.
Yep. So now I'm going to measure out the I think I literally brought everything except for the shrink tube to get on the hook, but I have the smaller shrink tube to go in the swivel in the back. So I'm going to quick measure that out, and you want it to cover half of the swivel to hold it straight in place so the blade's not getting caught up in your hook, and then have it go to, just covering the eyelet that you just made that the swivel's on. So I have that measured out. I'm just going to quick cut it with the Nip-X.
Yeah.
Slider on there. Hold on. Definitely not poke myself with the cut excess wire on here.
Cool.
Ow.
You're fine.
But what I have a bunch of this other stuff too. I can't remember the shrink tube, but it's the type of shrink tube that it has like, yeah, and it has like a higher.
It's the adhesive lined.
Yeah, and it shrinks like way more. This is like the stuff I got at Ace Hardware, which is fine. It's doable, but if you don't have the right size, you got to like really press it. Okay, I got it. I just had to wiggle it through. So now I finally have the back end just like that.
Yeah.
And I'll just quick heat her up with the old torch gun for fixing up rubber and everything. So
nice.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, I like to cool mine in my mouth.
Just gnaw on it or what?
Yep. I just stick it in there and just see how long it takes me to really yell.
Yeah. So I like I said, I don't have the other shrink tubing to go over the hook and this hanger that we just made, but basically it's going to hang just like that and shrink tube it right to the hook so that this stays in place and the blade can be out the back. So, and then I have a blade with also the not split ring pliers that I have with, but imagine it here with me. Boom, blade. Boom, hook.
Boom, awesome. What size blade is that?
This is a smaller willow. I generally, kind of my rule of thumb with blades is I don't like to go too big to where the tube's action is inhibited. So I typically run smaller, and I'll run Colorados and willows typically. And Colorados, I'm running like a size 4 or something like that, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar to what's off of a Bondi, or even the ones that come with Red Octobers. And then the willows, I'm not great with sizes, but maybe this is a 4, possibly.
It looks like a 5.
Maybe a 5. Yeah. It's, well, I got it right here. If anybody here owns a 910 Banger by Huntsy Tales, this blade I have in my hand is the exact size as the ones that come off of, I think, a 910, 8.9,
so
and
it's
7.8 XL.
It's either a 5 or a 4.5.
Okay, it might be a 4.5 then. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I remember buying a pile of these chartreuse ones. So, but yeah, that's the sauce for the rear blade attachment. You can just throw it on tubes. You can use this hook and with a blade on, I don't know, whatever you want, really. So that's kind of the beauty.
The sky's the limit.
Exactly.
So how are you working those things? Because I mean, like, how deep a water are you in? You in like 3 feet?
I'll work it in 3 feet, 2 feet. Inside weed lines, hard rips up, mostly always up, and then the beauty of the blade in the back, I pretty much just straight retrieve it in the figure 8.
Yep.
And that's how I've gotten bites. Not usually popping it. So
no, I that's the one thing I tell guys all the time when we're doing the bladed tubes is don't try to pop it. You're going to be way better off as a with just treat it like a bucktail, hang in the corners, and you're gonna do way better.
Because I got a thing on that, and that's something I've actually kind of just had an epiphany right now on why maybe that is. Usually on a day, so on a typical day, with the bloomed up water or something like that, say I'm fishing a darker stained lake, and the guy in front's throwing blades, and I'm throwing a tube in the back or something like that. You know, it happens a lot where if you don't make the right exact cast, since the water is so stained and they're going based on their lateral line, if the guy with the blade doesn't get right to the fish, he might not catch it, or, you know, he or she might not catch it. And say in the back with the tube, I get right over that fish perfectly, but it's just not wanting the up and down movement or a pull pause movement. And that's why I'll straight retrieve in the figure eight, is because I think if they just follow on the pull pause, they don't exactly want it like that. If they did, they probably would have eaten it already, as they typically do. They usually just make their decision extremely fast, which is why I never like getting follows on pull pause baits very much. It makes me want to go to a straight retrieve more often. And then they'll eat it in the straight retrieve in the eight. That's the same goes for dive and rise will do that. Crankbaits, that's a big one. Straight retrieving into the figure eight. Like if they didn't eat it out in the cast by then, you know, maybe give it a death rise by the boat if it's a rise bait, and then just fly it into the straight retrieve in the figure eight. And usually when that happens, I'm like, well, we're probably gonna have to throw some more straight retrieve out there.
No, I'm a big believer in that. So no, that makes total sense. I gotta pull that over a little bit. You can see the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's get you need a bigger poster in the back.
I do. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what was going on back there.
You're recording in your kitchen too?
I'm recording. Yeah. Well, I mean, that place is so small. I'm in the only thing I'm not in is the bathroom right now, and the way my stomach feels, that'll be soon. What else you got there to show?
So I was just talking about blades, so I'll grab the two most common blades. Apart from these, I'll kind of mention a few that I'll go to if these aren't working. And pretty much my favorites have been like medium to larger staggers in this water, because you can still burn them, but you can also slow roll them. So the two that I got are pretty much in my favorite colors, black and chartreuse. This is this first one right here is an IC9 Musky Frenzy, and it's missing a good amount of the skirt. This is like one of the first blades I got from them. I think they started out chartreuse and turned to glow, or maybe they always glowed. I don't know, but this one's been great. Another one I've been really liking to use, and none other than the Suggs Juice Box color, is the Banger 910 Banger. It gives a nice, you got the shine of the antifreeze blade, and then the typical chartreuse that I just love in the stained water. And you don't have to you can use this color blade wherever. I know most people think of this as like a green bloomed water color, but I've already talked to many people who have gotten this color and similar ones that have done well on clear water or clear water at night, or like more of a tannic water. So I think I usually lean towards the staggers, because with the dirty water, I want them to really feel it. And I'm thinking kind of the wobble and the offset grind of these, 910 blades, or whatever's on the IC9, that Colorado Illini combo, really just makes a different growl in the water. And the two that I switch up to if I need to is maybe a smaller stagger, but it's usually just flat out a Cowgirl double tens. That one I can go slower and keep higher if they're not wanting to be not wanting speed, or switching to like a Rabid Girl or Rabid Squirrel, some type of like slim profile, very easy to reel in, small single bladed single eight. So those are kind of the switch ups. And a lot of this is when you're jungle fishing, you got to be right on right on the reel, and you got to be ready to move the rod tip left and right and snake it between milfoil patches, cabbage patches, and really just kind of giving it a little different direction change once or twice in the cast.
How shallow do you have your boat, and how long are your casts?
Short. Casts are short, so this is not the type of fishing where you want to bomb cast it out. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to get weeds on your blades no matter. I mean, if you got a high speed reel and you really want to break your forearm in half and use these big blades with the high speed, go for it. But I'm more so pitching out and doing 1/2 to 3/4 casts rather than a full one. And the boat, I mean, pretty much if I'm in an area where I know they're at, I'm probably going to fish the outer edge, and then I'm going to go fish the inside edge. And that inside edge could mean the boat in about 2 to 4 feet of water in some of these stained lakes, and then the boat on the outside edge, depending on the lake, could be, you know, as shallow as 6 feet or out to 10 to 12 feet. Some of these lakes still got weeds out to that depth. So I'm doing a lot of double passes this time of year and getting a few casts onto shoreline.
Yeah. Okay. That's so I was wondering about. Now, are you doing much top water in that?
Yes. I think when it comes to tail baits, it's kind of just your personal preference on that. I got one that I've been liking as soon as mid-August hits and the water does cool down a little bit. I will use this one right until about mid-October is the big bomb squad, honestly. Okay. I'll use a small one too, but this big one just pushes water, and I think these ones just work the best. And I keep that washer completely loose in the back to make a really nice tinging noise. And yeah, this thing is accounted for. It doesn't catch a crap ton of fish, but the size caliber that these things put out is actually incredible. Majority to all of them are over 40. This one is, these Bomb Squad flaptails have accounted for my buddy Brian's last 2 personal bests. Last year it got a really big one in October. Slow rolling it on kind of a somewhat warmer day, but it hit right at sunset. You know, I knew most of the fish were still very much pushed up, but the water temps that day were, I think, like 57 to 59 maybe. And that fish had no problem coming up and chowing the flaptail, and no follow, just all eat. So that, and it's a good search bait too. Max and I have figured this out with a few lakes. We went to a couple, probably 4 or so years ago. We raised a ton of really big fish that some we actually ultimately got to eat suckers later, middle of the day and sunny. And we were throwing that big MK65, and it would help show them, you know, maybe they didn't want to eat it at that time because it's not super ideal conditions, but it would bring them right to the boat. It would get them out of that shallow water. And, you know, once that water is starting to get colder, I'll use suckers too, even when fishing in the shallow water, and that can be quite effective. It's frustrating getting a sucker around weeds, but
it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Fun.
A lot of cursing. Oh,
yeah.
And what's the last bait you kind of look for?
Mostly dive and rise. So, my favorite, as always, 10-inch weighted suic. As soon as you're off any edge, you can work it as fast as you want. But I just love the very slow, just banging this thing right into some weeds and backing her out. And there's some days where I'm going kind of painfully slow. And then if you give a couple short pops and get her back to the boat quick, that could trigger a strike. And then these will be at the, I think for sure, Wausau show and whatnot. These have been talked about or quite a bit, and people have probably heard myself talk about it, but it's the Hammer Customs made by our very own Nick Amrose up here in the Northwoods, Hammer Jerk. So this one he is made to actually almost wobble on the way down like a crankbait, and I think that displaces more water, and it's kind of like a wide body. It pushes water, but this bait's about the size of like an 8-inch navin, but if you put them side to side, you can tell that this one's bulkier, and it definitely just pushes more water. And when you're working with slightly stained water, I think that's a good thing, because the Suic itself with the 3 hooks on the wood, it makes a ton more noise than we think. This one I got them kind of shrink tubed so they don't get caught. So I don't think these hooks make quite as much noise. So more of the wobble and the water displacement, I think.
Sure.
Gets them going.
Sure.
So,
Like
and
it.
most perch that they're eating are about this size. Last year I used this right up until late October, early November, and still caught fish. And this is, even with the tail, it's maybe 8.5 inches long or so.
Yeah,
so.
they're not real big baits
No,
by any means.
No.
But they have a really cool, nice action to them. No, they're nice lures, even if Nick made them.
He's getting better at painting.
Yeah, well, he's better than me. Trust me, I'm terrible.
Yeah, your issues have gotten, I think, worse.
They do. They do.
Like,
I don't
way
know how
worse.
that is.
That one bait that you gave me to test.
Tongue?
The tongue. I call it the tongue. It caught a fish, which I was so surprised. But it had Gregg Thomas's name on it. Of course it was going to catch.
It was a beautiful lure. I mean, it looked like, if somebody, it kind of looked like a shoehorn, which everyone knows forms naturally in nature. Yeah, it was hey, it worked though. Shut up.
It did work. And then it caught a fish, and then it stopped working.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like me. It's kind of like I am. One and done. I gotta take a nap.
That kind of sounds nice.
Yes.
Just catch a fish and be like, well, my work is done here today.
I have completed the mission. But no, well, it sounds like September. What's your feelings on it? You like September? I've always loved September.
I have mixed feelings about it. It's kind of like June. You have some tough days in there because the fish are moving a lot. But I think it's got like huge potential. The fish are already coming off their summer feed bag, and with the water temps lowering, their metabolism slows, and they're still eating a lot, and they're just holding that weight. You can already get some super heavy fish in September. And I think the biggest mistake that I found myself doing a long time ago is I just didn't fish shallow enough. There's so many days I'd fish outside weed lines and nothing. I mean, I remember a day where that was happening. I think I was it was also a day where I realized that sucker fishing in September in super shallow water isn't always fun, because it was kind of holding me back from fishing shallower than I like. So I was like, oh, I always got to keep the sucker clean. And I would stay outside, and we didn't see much fish. And I remember kind of putting the sucker away, and we got a nice low 40s off of a tree on shore on a lake that has a 10-foot weed line way out from the shore that you would normally fish. And I was just like, all right, screw it. We got to scrap everything this amount of time, and seeing, one fish is not good. So that was kind of like an aha moment.
That was my Madison PMTT.
Yeah.
Where everything was caught shallow. Everything.
That's a big aha moment. That's a lot of people being like, that was amazing. And you're just
I'm going, this was awful. Yeah. Well,
in that squeaky voice, you're still going through puberty back then?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I still don't know if I've hit puberty or not.
No, I don't think so.
It's so weird. I don't, this gray beard I got right now, I don't even know what, I just think I'm dying from the inside. I think that's what it is.
Come on, Greg, you're aging well.
Everything. Yeah. I age like yogurt. It's really nice. I just get more sour and,
oh man,
grow hair in random places. But no, how can somebody go fishing with you up there, Gus?
Yeah, they can get a hold of me, website, Facebook, Instagram, number. So my number is 920-264-3816. Website is sugsfishing.com, SUGS fishing. It's also Suggs Fishing Guide Service on Instagram and Facebook. Any of those outlets there work. And I only have a few select September dates left. They're all midweek, except for a Sunday. I think I have a Sunday open. But I still have a good amount of openings in October. Early October is like 3 days away from being full in the first half of it, but the second half through about mid-November, I got some openings. So would love to have you in the boat and show you the whole ropes of the Northwoods, because there is a lot of possibility. Yesterday we went deep and clear for about 4 or 5 hours. Didn't see a whole lot going, and went to super shallow bloomed lake and begged to fish. Weather changed and fish weren't moving, and that's the beauty of up here. You can just kind of switch around.
Sure. And then you got your Musky on Tap podcast that you guys do.
Yep, Muskies on Tap podcast. That's on all the streaming outlets. Have it on my website as well if you want to listen straight from there. It gets posted to YouTube as well, I think. So all the I don't
know where the hell it goes.
You just click buttons on the internet and you just hope it's out there.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah.
Run free.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like releasing a butterfly.
And if you want to hear more of old Gregg Thomas, we've had him on like 4 times or something. So
one or two, I may or may not been inebriated.
This is correct. But those are fun.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Or you don't remember. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. A lot of my life has been, I was told I had a good time. But all right, Gus, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Always a good time. And I guess I'll see you down in Iowa. I think we just booked our Airbnb for down there this morning, and we got the same in our place. We got the same crew staying with us, and I have no idea where it's at or what we're doing, but we'll be there.
That's awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks again for having me on the Patreon, and also congrats as you and Rick are chilling in first place for Top Gun right now. Yeah,
all we need, I guess, is a 30-incher.
That's what it's looking like. Are you the only team that caught in all 3 events?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the only team that did all 3 and that got in all 3. So I think a 30-incher will probably seal the deal.
I think so too.
And so hopefully everybody tells me how loaded this Iowa lake is. Clear Lake. They're all saying how awesome it is, and I hope I don't go down there and just kill the bite totally. So
please don't.
Yes,
we all want to go down and catch fish, especially after that cast. At least for us.
Oh yes, I get it. So all right, Gus, hang on for me for a little bit, but I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thanks, Greg.